Welcome to the Benning Report. Coming up in this edition, the 3rd Armored Brigade Combat Team bids farewell to its tanks.
And the Army introduces new marksmanship training.
Later, wounded warriors compete.
Welcome to the Benning Report. I'm Katie Cook.
And I'm David Wright with the Fort Benning Public Affairs Office. Thanks for watching.
Spiral J. It's the 10th Army Expeditionary Warrior Experiments, an event in which government and industry experts aim to impact soldier equipment for the better. This year, 66 technologies as well as 5 different concepts were tested by soldiers to determine their effectiveness and whether they'll work well in an Army operational environment, from unmanned systems and radios to robotic human-like targets. Today, organizations had the chance to showcase their products to leadership not only from the Army, but from the Department of Defense as well. Since October, the Experimentation Force on Fort Benning, a group of soldiers dedicated to testing, has been training on these 66 technologies. During the 3-week phased experiments, the X4 takes the technologies and concepts to the field, where they test them against an opposition force. When all is said and done, evaluators have a clear picture of how these technologies would perform in the real world.
Industry recognized the value of this venue early, and what they do is they look at a test, fix, test type methodology. So they'll bring it here 1 year, garner the soldier feedback, take it back, make adjustments, and then bring it back the following year.
Fort Benning bids farewell to its Garrison Command Sergeant Major as another takes responsibility. Melissa Bell shares what we can expect from the new Fort Benning senior leader.
Soldiers, friends, and family welcomed a new Garrison Command Sergeant Major at a change of responsibility ceremony held on Fort Benning.
It's great to be here at Fort Benning. Fort Benning has grown dramatically in my time in the military, and it's only going to get better. This post has so much to offer for everyone, not just the employees here, but also the soldiers and their family members, the retirees.
Sergeant Major Floyd hails from the 6th Ranger Training Battalion at Eglin Air Force Base, Florida, and began his career at Fort Benning with Infantry 1 Station unit training. From light infantry to airborne and mechanized units, Sergeant Major Floyd has served in various infantry roles and every leadership position.
In my tenure here, I want to help Colonel Herter in some focus areas, which is first, reception of the soldiers. Every soldier should come here with a sponsor. It's our job to make sure they are integrated to the best of our ability here to the Fort Benning and surrounding communities.
Not only will Sergeant Major Floyd focus on incoming soldiers, but also on aiding soldiers transitioning out of the Army.
The Soldier for Life Center over on Main Post is a great help to soldiers. We've got to get the word out because soldiers leaving the Army need the same support as the soldiers that are arriving here at Fort Benning.
Command Sergeant Major Sullivan's new assignment will be as the Command Sergeant Major of Installation Management Command, Atlantic Region. Melissa Bell, Fort Benning TV.
Soldiers from the Southern Regional Dental Command spent 5 days competing in the Best Warrior of the Year competition. Competitors were assessed on their depth of knowledge and a wide range of tactical and technical common skills, as well as their level of physical fitness. Soldiers traded their clinic coats for field boots to compete for the top spot in tasks they don't typically see in a healthcare setting.
It's important for us, for our soldiers, to compete this time around because we do not get out of the dental clinics as often as we should. So these soldiers that are here today are the best of the best, and we want them to make sure that they're well-rounded soldiers, not just, healthcare providers.
Soldiers assigned to dental activities from 9 states in the southern region, along with soldiers from 5 different medical brigades of the 3rd Medical Command, teamed up to take advantage of the resources available at Fort Benning to prepare for and execute the Best Warrior.
Fort Benning provides us an opportunity of all the training requirements for the Best Warrior competition. And the assets here with the Ranger Training Brigade, with the 199th Infantry Brigade, the 316th Cav, and then we did the Total Army Force Policy with DENTAC, and then we have active component and reserve component soldiers competing in this competition.
Not only did soldiers have to zero their weapons and complete written and verbal boards, or interviews. They also had to tackle the physically demanding confidence and obstacle courses. To test their mental resiliency, competitors were timed and had to perform Army warrior tasks while negotiating an obstacle.
Gas, 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 gas!
Like putting on a gas mask.
We don't get that many opportunities to be assigned to a FORSCOM unit or a tow unit, so we wanted to add different events in between that'll surprise them, that are not normal for us.
Grab this weapon. I need that weapon cleared.
Soldiers competing today have already been tested in their individual DENTAC Soldier of the Year or Soldier of the Quarter competitions. And soldiers from the 3rd Medical Command have previously competed at the Battalion, Brigade, and Major Support Command levels.
They are competing against the best of the best. Because they are typically in the medical field, they don't come out to the field very often to practice these skills. It gives them a different opportunity to challenge themselves and be resilient in their craft.
All right, let's go. Come on. Push through it.
The most outstanding non-commissioned officer and soldier from this regional event will represent the SRDC at the Dental Command level Best Warrior of the Year competition in Fort Hood, Texas. Katie Cook, Fort Benning TV.
One of Fort Benning's brigades is transitioning from a heavy to a light infantry unit. So what happens to all the tanks they currently operate? Melissa Bell fills us in on those details.
After nearly 19 years, the 3rd Armored Brigade Combat Team is trading in its tanks, Strykers, and Bradleys for leather personnel carriers, also known as boots, as this Armored Brigade converts to a light infantry unit.
Basically, what it really boils down to, instead of being tankers and infantrymen who ride around in tanks and Bradleys, we're trading those in and putting on our what we call leather personnel carriers or boots. And light infantry basically fights dismounted, a lot of walking, heavy rucksacks.
And that means that by saying goodbye to these tanks, they'll also be bidding farewell to those who maintain them.
In an Armored Brigade combat team, you need a lot of 19-kilo tank crewmen. They got to run the tanks. But there's not any tanks in the light infantry brigade formation. So our tankers are going to other places in the Army, be it Fort Hood, Fort Riley. We're sending some guys to Harmony Church here at Fort Benning. So they're moving out throughout the Army, and we're going to get more infantrymen in.
Roger, we're still waiting for a 2nd platoon to catch up with us, over.
As this brigade welcomes its new infantry brethren, they can expect a change in training to infantry-style operations that include strapping on a rucksack and heading to the field for a week. In the meantime, over 7,200 pieces of equipment, including several hundred vehicles, will be loaded onto trains and sent out.
My battalion's equipment set, most of it is going to 4th Brigade, 1st Armored Division at Fort Bliss. Then the other stuff is going to various equipment sets around the world to outfit those.
Soldiers have spent long hours over the last several months checking and inspecting vehicles to make sure they're all in the best working condition for those who will receive them, all while continuing to train.
We spent a lot of months, long hours, making sure that these vehicles are ready to transfer, because it's our reputation here too. We wanted to make sure that the units that were getting this equipment got it in the best possible condition that we could get it in.
The 3rd Armored Brigade was able to complete this transition in only a month, a process that would usually take much longer. With 6 battalions in collaboration to see this transition through, leadership credits the hard work and dedication to the professionalism of their soldiers. Melissa Bell, Fort Benning TV.
Coming up next, the Army has a new plan for marksmanship training, and they're equipping NCOs to teach it.
One of the goals of the Master Marksmanship Training course is to get soldiers back up to par in the fundamentals of shooting, a skill that for some has been dulled by more than a decade at war. Melissa Bell takes us inside Level 1 of the MMTC, where soldiers are remastering the basics.
It's the Master Marksmanship Training course, and before you get to this, you have to learn this.
You're going to have your elbow as close to underneath the magazine as possible. So just work on smooth trigger control, pulling that trigger straight back to the rear.
And it all starts out with an exam.
The first day we give what's called a pretest. And so what the pretest does is show them that they may not exactly know what they're doing or they're not experts in their craft. We actually had a 45% pass rate for this pretest.
This 5-week course starts out with a 2-week in-depth session on Level 1's basic rifle marksmanship.
Instead of just going out and blasting rounds, you should be learning from every single round you shoot, correct?
In Level 1 of this course, soldiers will fire 300 rounds each at 3 different ranges. Not only will they have to meet the Army minimum for qualification by hitting 23 out of 40 targets, but to pass this course, they'll need an additional 11, bringing that total to 34.
They may fire 33 out of 40, but they can expertly handle their weapon system. Can they make their own corrections on their sight, and can they talk to us smartly about a minute of angle? Can they correct a malfunction, all the malfunctions out there, not just a double feed, but maybe a bolt override, maybe an extractor, something that has happened with that rifle? They know how to do that, and they can teach that to guys.
Skills taught during Level 1 begin with the crawl phase of instruction on ballistics, wind and weather, sights and optics, and positions. Once complete, they practice skills with simulations and dry fires, and then move on to grouping drills and the art of known distance training.
It's being able to make a link of where you're seeing it and where it's actually hitting.
All with iron sights.
We mainly shoot, in this course, the first 2 weeks, iron sights. It's of the belief that if you can shoot iron sights, anything else will be that much more successful when you throw an optic on.
Once students have mastered iron sights in various positions like prone unsupported, and kneeling, it's on to night fires, where soldiers will learn to perform after sunset.
What we see is a degradation of skills in working with night vision devices.
Which is why this event was added to the course. Soldiers had to score 26 hits on E-type silhouettes at an automatic record fire range. Over 15% of students did not make the cut, and although they will move on to Level 2, they will not be certified until they pass this exam at a later date. Melissa Bell, Fort Benning TV.
After the break, wounded warriors compete for a spot at the Army Trials.
It is not necessary to be a citizen of the United States in order to join its Army. Now, the United States Citizenship and Immigration Service is working more closely than ever with Fort Benning to ensure that all soldiers seeking citizenship can attain it.
Working more closely includes the United States Citizenship and Immigration Services officially opening on Fort Benning. Before the opening of this new office, only 1 or 2 USCIS employees would travel to Fort Benning from Atlanta once a week to process as many candidates as they could. Now, a staff of 5 full-time employees are based out of the 30th Adjutant General Complex and eager to expedite a process that not long ago could easily take 10 months to complete.
Once I found out that we could do the process in 10 weeks here, I felt it was my duty to make sure it happened here to relieve the burden off the operating force, and so you didn't have a kid that could potentially deploy and be killed in combat and not be a U.S. citizen.
The Constitution and the laws of the United States of America. Against all enemies. Against all enemies.
This group of young soldiers signed up for the United States Army before they were even citizens. For many, graduating from basic training and receiving their citizenship on the same day is a dream come true.
I love America's diversity. I think its diversity is its strength when it comes to this country. People come here to secure their family, and that's what impressed me most. I haven't seen that anywhere else across the world.
An average of 120 soldiers come through Fort Benning's reception battalion each month seeking their United States citizenship. Before now, many of these soldiers would have graduated basic training still without having completed their naturalization process. But the opening of the new office means all should be able to receive their citizenship contingent upon their graduation.
It fits nicely to have this office here at 30th AG because we're doing the initial and processing for all soldiers as they arrive for initial entry training, basic combat training or infantry or armor OSIT. So it's a natural point where we can identify and get them through the process before they go to training and complete the task here.
Where naturalization certificates once could only be printed in Atlanta, the USCIS has now authorized the new office on Fort Benning to print them, clearing a major hurdle for each soldier seeking citizenship of a country they already love enough to defend.
For me, it was I wanted to give something back to America. America gave me an opportunity to come here and, marry an American woman as well. So I wanted to, show my kind of thanks and loyalty to the country by serving in any way I could.
David Wright, Fort Benning TV.
Fort Benning hosted the Eastern Regional Trials where competitors from Fort Campbell, Kentucky and Georgia's Fort Gordon and Fort Stewart joined those here with hopes of being selected to advance to the Army trials.
The athletes are soldiers and veterans from their respective warrior transition battalions, and the Army trials selection is all a part of the adaptive reconditioning program that supports soldiers and veterans across the physical, professional, social, spiritual, emotional, and family domains.
Adaptive reconditioning is part of the comprehensive transition program. So you look at 6 domains that they're supposed to set SMART goals against, and physical and emotional are 2 of the 6 domains. But we have soldiers that really focus on adaptive reconditioning because it helps in all those different domains for their recovery process.
These Eastern Regional Trials included everything from track and field events to sitting volleyball, and representatives from Warrior Transition Command were on hand to evaluate and select those individuals who will go on to compete in the Army trials. From there, the team will be chosen to represent the Army in the DoD competition slated for this summer.
As a soldier, we fought for this country. Now as an athlete, you could win for it. And when that flag goes all the way up and you hear your national anthem, it brings tears to your eyes. It's like you know what that stands for. It's the same thing these guys are going to feel when they make the Army team. It's like they've accomplished something big.
The Army's adaptive reconditioning program provides prospective athletes with training plans, enhanced skills, and intermittent evaluations. The program ensures that soldier activities contribute to the soldier returning to the force or to a successful transition as a veteran.
It's that teamwork, it's that confidence, it's that dedication, that commitment that they're going to need as they go through this recovery process while they're at the WTB. That's going to transcend to what they do later on in life and the goals that they set.
These trials are the pinnacle event for soldiers in the WTB going through the adaptive reconditioning program. Soldiers spend a lot of time preparing for these opportunities, in some cases as much as 18 months for this annual event.
I have a motto: if you believe, you can achieve. If you believe in something so bad, you can achieve anything you want in life, no matter what life throws at you.
The Army trials are scheduled to take place March 29th through April 2nd at Fort Bliss, Texas. David Wright, Fort Benning TV.
Coming up next, it's a Gulf Coast getaway just for military families.
Dreaming of white sand beaches and basking in the warm Florida sun? Sounds like you need a vacation. And you're in luck, because Fort Benning Morale, Welfare, and Recreation has a resort in Destin, Florida, with upgrades you'll see this summer. As the snowbirds fly home and summer tourists begin to flock down, the Destin Recreation Center is preparing for another busy tourist season. Located just 220 miles south of Fort Benning, the center is continuously upgrading its 15.5-acre resort.
Over time, it started out being a camp. It was a soldier camp. And then as it was taken over as a resort facility, that's when the upgrades started to come in. Originally had dirt roads, we paved the roads, had wood cabins, we replaced the cabins. And over the years, the amenities have become more and more upscale.
This year is nothing new. Beginning last winter, a project was initiated to give the marina a much-needed facelift, which is scheduled to be completed by the end of March.
In our marina itself, we have taken out all of the woodwork within the marina, have had that all laid down, replaced some pilings in there as well to keep it secure, and our boats would have plenty of places to be.
It's not an easy process and can take months to get these projects started, but it's worth it. Part of the marina project includes the renovation of the popular fishing pier. After 11 years of being exposed to the elements, it was necessary to replace.
You know, a lot of things here, the weather really does do a number on woodwork. It does a number on any kind of metal that you have. So after a certain period of time, it's just really very smart to get in there and replace the rotted out woodwork and the pilings that holds everything up.
Whether it's taking a dip in the pool, lounging by the ocean, or heading out on a charter boat, there's something here for everyone. With 5 different types of accommodations, it's sure to fit every family's needs. From 2- and 3-bedroom villas, studios, suites, and hotel rooms to a 46-site RV park.
Northwest Florida is just a gorgeous place to visit. However, it can be very expensive. Fortunately, this location, we are able to keep our costs down so that the soldier and family member and retirees can still afford to go on a great vacation in a beautiful location and be able to still go out to dinner at night.
For more information about the Destin Army Recreation Area, visit BenningMWR.com. Katie Cook, Fort Benning TV.
Well, that looked like fun. How did you manage to go to Florida for a story?
Because I'm a professional and I'm focused on my work.
Well, yeah, but why didn't I get to go?
Because I'm a professional and I'm focused on my work.
That will bring this edition of the Benning Report to an end.
But you can watch these stories and others on youtube.com/BenningTV or at benning.army.mil.
And you can also like us on Facebook.
From the Public Affairs Office, thanks for watching.